And I remember everything was kind of geared around Jude when we kind of got to sort of 10, 11, 12 years old, because we could kind of see that he was taking that talent that he had from such a young age. And by the way, you don't need any sort of special qualifications to see how good a player he was, you know, even at that young age. So as I say, it wasn't any, I don't really remember any one kind of, you know, time, but I just remember he was just exceptional throughout the ages, you know. So those players are just, I mean, just easy to see.
There are a lot of articles saying you're the man sort of credited, or as part of the team, credited for noticing Jude Bellingham while you were at Birmingham. Can you tell us that story?
I think you're right when you say part of the team. I think that's
Right.
kind of the important thing. And yeah, I mean, I remember when I left Man United, there were some headlines, and it was just like, obviously, people were just trying to, I don't know, catch attention. So, I mean, like I said, I started at Birmingham in the summer of 2010, and I don't really remember whether Jude was already there or came in maybe in that season, because he would have been probably 6 at the time, 6 or 7. But I mean, I remember he was in the pre-academy system for 2 or 3 years, and obviously had a lot of ability. And then he would have signed as an under-9. So that's probably 10 years ago now, right? So yeah, so I don't remember if I was probably at that time was probably around when I became head of recruitment when he went into that under-9 season. So I guess that's probably where it comes from. But I don't really remember how he got into the that pre-academy system. So again, I'm not taking any credit for. Yeah, I spotted him on the park, and it's and by the way, you don't need any sort of special qualifications to see how good a player he was, you know, even at that young age. So. I mean, I really remember we had.
If you're looking to get scouted by a professional club and put pen to paper on that first pro deal, me and Tate Trusty have put together a course which has everything you need to know on how you can make it there. The course includes the advice and knowledge of 20 plus professional players, coaches and scouts, including Lyndon. And it's not just the normal stuff you see online, it's everything you need. It's your complete roadmap to making it as a professional footballer. If you want to make your dreams a reality, click the first link in the description.
I'm proud to say I've reached the point of putting pen to paper on a professional contract. Now me and Dennis have come up with a bank of knowledge that I wish I had before, and this will help you get a contract yourselves.
Quite a small group of staff, you know, myself, Christian was the academy manager at the time, Mike Dodd, Steve Spooner, you know, good people and a good core nucleus of people. And I remember everything was kind of geared around Jude when we kind of got to sort of 10, 11, 12 years old, because we could kind of see that he was taking that talent that he had from such a young age, and he was just continuing to do it through the age groups. I think when I left, I think he was in his under 12 season, but you know, even then he was just an unbelievable talent. So and you know, good family around him, good people that, you know, I think could have easily in a different environment been swayed by money or going to a bigger club and things like that, but you know, they saw the bigger picture, they understood, and the club did as well to some degree, you know. So yeah, it was a great time to be at the club. And as I say, it wasn't any, I don't really remember any one kind of, you know, time, but I just remember he was just exceptional throughout the ages, you know. So those players are just, I mean, just easy to see. And you know, especially when they continue that through the age groups, and you think, yeah, there's a special talent here. It's great. So
right.
So yeah, I didn't find him on the park. That's although I do sometimes say that in the office in banter. So anybody asks,
not a bad thing to have in your locker.
No, definitely. And to be fair, it was a real special time to be at Birmingham, because we had a few. You know, we had like Nathan Redmond, Damari Gray, Jack Butland, a few real good players, and probably loads more that are still playing at a decent level in the Championship or League One. And it was a good club, even though we didn't have any money. You know, we had some real problems throughout the years. It was a great learning experience for me, and it was great to be a part of that. It just so happened that we had a real special talent in the academy at the time, and we were all aware of it. And yeah, obviously when I left and went to Man City, they continued to do a great job of him. The family as well, you know, obviously understood what the pathway and the plan for him was, and it really worked. And yeah, tried to sign him a few times when I went to Man City and Man United as well. And yeah, to the credit of the club and the family and the player and the boy, and you know, they stuck to their guns, and it's really paid off for them.
So you mentioned everything became sort of not not fully, but sort of geared around him, like he was the, I guess, center of attention. How much do you think that's sort of the case in academies? Because you always hear this thing about, oh, you have one or two players that coaches think they're going to make it, and everyone else is a sort of a supporting act. How much do you think that's actually the case?
The reality is that's a little bit the case,
Right.
and I think, yeah, you are, ultimately you're trying to get through every year a core nucleus of players that you think are going to get through to that scholarship age group, and then you think that they can potentially play in your first team. And I think, yeah, you're almost, it does sound a little bit disrespectful when you talk about the supporting cast, but when I've been at clubs that say at Birmingham, Man City, Man United, and now Leeds, obviously what you're trying to still do within that academy system is create good young men, hopefully good young footballers that can go and have a career. If it's not at your club, it's at the highest level they can elsewhere. And if not, then they'll either have a career in football, doing something on, coaching, scouting, sports science. There's so many roles now in football that I think it's much more of a holistic approach to it. And then you will get the players that surprise you, and I've done it. I remember when I was younger and naive, and you say, never going to be a footballer. And, there's always one that'll surprise you. And so I've stopped saying that now,
right?
Because it's capable of anything. You look at, I don't know, you probably have kind of more knowledge of it than me in terms of the players that get released by clubs and go and maybe play in the lower leagues, and then they still find their way to the Premier League. It can happen. I mean, it's rare, but those things happen. Like I say, sometimes there is a logic in terms of, well, if you're not good enough for this team, why would you be good enough for that team? I don't know. Say, I guess Declan Rice could be an example. And then you look at him and the way he's kind of transformed himself and come through, and there is always an exception that proves the rule. So yeah, you never say never. That's for sure. But yeah, I think first and foremost, and it's a big commitment for players and families going into an academy system. There's a lot of traveling, there's a lot of long hours, unsociable hours, and a lot goes into it. It's a big commitment. So it's unfair to kind of say that even though you are realistically gearing it towards getting one or two or three players through every year that you think are capable of getting your first team, I think academies now is definitely geared towards making sure that everything is there to support that player, to give them the best chance they can. And if they don't become a footballer at that club, they can become a footballer somewhere else.
Right.
Can't become a footballer somewhere else. They've had the education and the background and everything else that can support them in doing whatever it is that they want to do and choose to do.